In the heart of the vast African plains, nestled between towering baobab trees and a river that whispered ancient secrets, lay a small village called Naledi. Life in Naledi was simple, its people connected to the land and its rhythms. Among them was a young girl named Tandi, who, like any other child in the village, spent her days chasing butterflies, helping her mother in the fields, and listening to stories around the fire. But one fateful day, Tandi began to feel unwell. It started with a fever, barely noticeable at first, but soon her strength began to drain. Her mother, Noma, worried as she was, brought her to the village healer, an elderly woman known for her wisdom and her knowledge of herbs. The healer muttered incantations, crushed leaves, and gave Tandi bitter concoctions to drink. But the illness persisted. Days turned into weeks, and despite the healer's efforts, Tandi's condition worsened. As the illness tightened its grip on Tandi, something strange began to happen. Other villagers started to fall ill with the same symptoms: fever, exhaustion, and a deep, relentless cough. First, it was Tandi's neighbors. Then it spread to the neighboring village. Word traveled quickly between the scattered settlements, and the elders of Naledi gathered to discuss the spreading sickness. No one knew where it had come from, only that it seemed to move from village to village like a shadow, silent and swift. Fear crept into the hearts of the people. Some said it was a curse, that the ancestors had been angered. Others whispered of evil spirits lurking in the forests. But one thing was clear: the illness was unstoppable. The villagers tried everything, burning herbs, chanting prayers, but nothing could stem its spread. Soon, Naledi became a ghost village, its once vibrant paths now empty, save for the cries of the sick. The elders, realizing the severity of the situation, made a heart-wrenching decision. Naledi must be evacuated, and quickly, before the entire region was consumed by the plague. They hoped that by leaving they could save those who were still healthy and outrun the sickness that seemed to follow them like a shadow. One evening, just as the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the plains, the village gathered for the last time. Mothers clutched their children, and men packed what little they could carry. The elders gave instructions, their voices heavy with sorrow. Tandi, too weak to walk, was carried by her father on his back. The people moved swiftly, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they might never return to their beloved village. As they passed the great baobab tree, Tandi lifted her head and looked back at Naledi, her home. Her feverish eyes took in the quiet huts, the abandoned fields, and the river that had been her playground. She felt an overwhelming sense of loss, not just for her village, but for the life she once knew. By dawn, Naledi was behind them, and the villagers camped by the banks of a river far from home. But the sickness was not done with them yet. As the days passed, it became clear that the illness had traveled with them. More villagers succumbed, and hope began to dwindle. Tandi's mother, Noma, watched helplessly as her daughter's condition worsened. She knew in her heart that Tandi might not survive the journey. But even as the sickness ravaged her body, Tandi remained calm. One night, as the stars shone brightly overhead, Tandi whispered to her mother, "The land remembers us, Mama. Even if we must leave, Naledi will always be with us." The following morning, as the sun broke through the horizon, Tandi took her last breath. Her mother wept, cradling her daughter's lifeless body. The villagers, though weakened and grieving, performed the final rites with reverence. They buried Tandi near the river, under a tree that would one day grow tall and strong, just like the girl they had lost. Years later, the land where Naledi once stood remained silent. The villagers never returned, but the memory of the place lived on in their stories, passed down to the next generation. And under the wide African sky, the tree by the river flourished, a testament to the girl who had once played beneath its branches, her spirit forever intertwined with the land she loved. The illness, like all things, eventually faded, but the story of Naledi and its people lived on, a reminder of the fragility of life and the resilience of those who must leave everything behind in the face of the unknown.